Hello, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle a topic that pretty much every newcomer to Germany has to face, that famous, and let's be honest, sometimes famously confusing system of recycling and environmental rules. Okay, let's dive right in. So, if you've ever found yourself standing in your kitchen, just holding an empty container, completely paralyzed by that rainbow of different colored bins, don't worry, you are not alone. It's basically a rite of passage here. But getting the hang of this system is absolutely key to fitting in and, being a good neighbor in your new home. So to make sense of it all, we're going to break it down into 5 parts. We'll start with the why, the German green mindset. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of mastering those colored bins. After that, we'll talk about the side quests, like the Pfand system. We'll also see how this all fits into a bigger green lifestyle. And finally, we'll cover the rules and the risks so you know exactly what's at stake. Okay, first things first. Before you can understand the rules, you've really got to get the mindset behind them. You see, this isn't just about sorting your trash. It's something that's deeply, deeply ingrained in the culture here. I mean, protecting the environment, or Umweltschutz, is taken so seriously, it's actually a constitutional right. And this isn't some new fad. It goes way back to a powerful green movement in the 70s, and it's something kids learn about from kindergarten. So the big takeaway here is that separating your waste isn't just a nice suggestion, it's the law. And unfortunately, saying, "I didn't know," just isn't going to cut it. This quote, this really gets to the heart of the whole philosophy. It's all about this idea of a shared responsibility for the future. And if you kind of keep that thought in the back of your mind, the whole system starts to make a lot more sense. All right, let's get to the practical stuff, the part you'll be dealing with every single day. This is the core of the system, your guide to getting it right. First up, the yellow bin, or sometimes you'll see a yellow sack. This is for what they call lightweight packaging. So think yogurt cups, plastic wrap from your cheese, aluminum foil, and those milk or juice cartons. A good tip is to look for the grüner Punkt or green dot symbol. And hey, just give things a quick rinse. They don't have to be sparkling clean. The blue bin is pretty straightforward. It's for all your paper and cardboard. Newspapers, letters, cereal boxes, they all go in here. But, and this is a really important piece of neighborhood etiquette, please flatten your boxes. It saves a ton of space and makes life so much easier for everyone involved. Next is the brown bin, for Biomüll or organic waste. This is for all your food scraps, fruit and veggie peels, coffee grounds, eggshells, you name it. Now, here's the really critical part, a super common mistake. No plastic bags, and that includes the ones that say they're biodegradable, unless your local municipality gives a specific okay. They just contaminate the whole batch of compost. And finally, we have the black or gray bin. This is for Restmüll, which means residual waste. Just think of this as the bin of last resort. It's for everything that absolutely cannot go into any of the other bins. Things like diapers, cigarette butts, old sponges, and that broken coffee mug. So why all the fuss about keeping things out of that black bin? Well, this chart says it all. It really comes down to cost. See, processing recyclables is pretty cheap. But the cost to deal with that residual waste, the Restmüll, it's way, way higher. So every single thing you sort correctly actually saves money and resources for the whole community. Okay, so you've got the main bins down. Now it's time for the side quests. These are the special systems for certain items, and one of them will actually put a little money back in your pocket. Let's talk about Pfand. This is brilliant. It is not a tax. It's a deposit you pay on almost all single-use plastic bottles, every can, and a lot of reusable glass bottles, too. The whole idea is super simple. You get your deposit money back when you return the empty container. So how much are we talking? Well, for most of those single-use plastic bottles and any can, you'll get 25 cents back. That's a big incentive. Reusable bottles, usually glass, have a smaller deposit, maybe 8 or 15 cents. Trust me, it adds up faster than you think. And returning them is so easy. Just look for a machine called a Pfandautomat, which you'll find in basically every supermarket. You just feed your bottles and cans in, one by one. When you're done, you hit a button, it prints out a little receipt or bon, and you just take that to the checkout to get your cash or a discount on your groceries. Simple as that. But what about the really weird stuff? Well, for big things like an old mattress, you can schedule a spermule pickup. Old electronics can just be returned to the store. You'll see battery collection boxes everywhere. The point is, there's a proper place for pretty much anything you need to get rid of. You know, this whole green mindset goes way beyond just the trash cans. It's really woven into daily life, from things like using public transport and buying local food to how you save energy right in your own apartment. A perfect example of this is something called Stoßlüften, or shock ventilation. The right way to do it is to turn your heat off and then open your windows all the way for about 5 to 10 minutes. This gets a full exchange of air. The wrong way, which wastes a crazy amount of energy, is leaving windows just tilted open for hours while the heat is blasting. That's also a great way to cause mold, by the way. Okay, so we've covered the how and the why, but what happens if you get it wrong? It's important to be clear about the rules and, well, the consequences. So if you consistently make mistakes, like always throwing plastic in the paper bin, it can have consequences. You might end up with a fine for, say, around 50 euros. But for really serious stuff, like just dumping your trash somewhere illegally, the fines get steep. And I mean really steep. We're talking up to 2,500 euros. They do not mess around with this. Now, it usually doesn't start with a huge fine. More often, it'll begin with a warning letter. But if the problems keep happening, it can lead to higher fees, and in the most extreme, repeated cases, it can actually be grounds for your landlord to start eviction proceedings. But let's end this on a much more positive note. Please don't let all these rules intimidate you. The most important thing, really, is that people appreciate it when you try. Nobody expects you to be an expert on day one. If you're ever unsure about something, just ask a neighbor. Seriously, they will almost always be happy to help you out. So there you have it. You've got the map, you've got the rules of the game. It might seem a little complicated at first, but it's a challenge that's definitely worth accepting. The only question left is, are you ready to play?